This is going to be a big one. All right, welcome back to Getting to Green. My name is Kevin, and in today's episode, I want to actually start working on archiving. So we're able to create a to-do, and we're able to update the title in it. But what if we want to archive it or delete it, right? I don't want to actually delete these things yet. In the future, I think having an actual delete key is going to be crucial to us. But for now, it'd be nice to kind of archive them, throw them on the back burner. Something you don't really need to worry about. Maybe we could delete them in X number of days, right? However, right now, I want to make it so we can archive it. Now, this is going to be kind of a big episode, and that's because we're going to be doing something. We got a couple of things that I really need to take care of in order to do this, and like we're going to be creating a component, but this is going to be fun because we're going to have a couple of tests that we're going to write, and we're going to have this new component, and then we'll actually get into the archiving of the to-dos. So let's go jump into it. Okay, so if we remember our design here, we had this little drop down that we had for here, so these actions. So I want to have a little like fly out window for this. So this is actually, it's going to take a little bit of time to set up and everything, but this is what I want. I want to have this little button, we're going to click it, and then we're going to have our little drop down. So we don't have this built yet, that's what we're going to do. And then we can archive. So with that, let's go into here. We're going to create a brand new, let's see, we'll go to resources, JS, and in our components, I want a new component, and we'll call it flyout.view. And we have a view 3 template. And what I want to do here is I want to have, let's see, we're going to have a div. This is going to be our like backer area, right? Right there. And this is going to be, this is what we're actually going to have. This is going to be like a background item, right? So then, you know how like when you have like a modal and it kind of darkens the background, and you could click on that and close the modal. This is going to be exactly the same thing, except it's going to be kind of invisible. And all it's going to act as is a place to click to close out that little open fly out menu. There are other ways to do this. We can actually create a directive and a click outside directive, but I don't want to really go down that route just yet, or even at all. This works fine. So this is what we're going to do. So we have our new div, and we're going to say vShow equals, and we'll have props.isOpen. And let's do our props here. So const props equals define props, and we're going to do this as TypeScript, right? So it looks a little different, but here we go. So we're going to have our prop, so is open, and it's just going to be a Boolean. So we can get rid of that $, and we have also we're going to have some classes on here, but we're not going to really worry about that yet. We need, and when we click on this, I want to emit an update is open, and we want that to be false. Okay, so that's our first div. We can actually close it out like that. Okay, we're going to do our emits also. So const emit equals define emits. And this kind of does it the same way. We have the TypeScript way of doing this. So we're going to say update is open, And the payload, we don't need like its own separate payload. It's not going to be anything like that. We're just going to send in a Boolean. And that works now. So also within view 3, we can have multiple, what's the word? What's that word I'm looking for? Root elements, right? We don't have to wrap everything, so we can actually have this be here. So another div, if you could spell, div. And this is going to be a vShow also. And I'm just going to copy this because I can't type. vShow for the same thing, the props. We'll have some classes on it, but I'm not really worried about it just yet. And inside of the div is just going to be a slot. This is where everything's going to go. Slot. And pop, pop, pop. Something like that, right? So this is essentially what we need. I'm going to create some tests now as well because we want to start figuring out if this thing works. So flyout.spec.ts. And here we're going to have a describe. I'm going to say our flyout. All right, so I want up here, I'm going to have a const, well, it's not a thing, so we could do a let wrapper, and we'll have that be a wrapper from there. And in the before each, we'll set that. So the wrapper is going to equal to shallow mount, and we're going to say the flyout for view. So that just pulled that in for us. And we're going to have to pass it, oh, not that. Pass it some things like props data. And I want is open to be false. And the reason we're doing this is because we're getting our prop, but because we're setting it within TypeScript, when this actually compiles down, Vue is just going to say, all right, well, it's going to default to true. We can't set it to a default value through TypeScript. We could undo this and have it be like the normal object syntax that we're used to, and then have, you know, type and defaults for us, but this is fine. It's fine. So we're going to have that. We need an it, so we test it can be opened, right? So we'll say, actually this will be async, and we'll say, let's see, expect wrapper.isVisible to be falsy. So we don't want it to be visible just yet, but we can await wrapper.set props, and we'll say, I think it'll be is open true. And then we could say this to be truthy. And we can hit that. We'll hit over here, just making sure my face isn't in the way. You know what? I'm tired of my face. Let's get rid of my, which button was it? This one. We don't have to look at me. So now we could do yarn test spec, and I'm going to give it the name here. So flyout.spec.ts. So we're only worried about that one file. We don't have to go through all of our other tests. We don't have a ton of them, but these things do start to add up, and it's nice to kind of be able to show what we got. Expected true to be falsy. So we have that wrapper. Everything in here should be, you know, vShow props is open. All right, let's see. Is valid. All right, so is visible to be falsy. Let's give this a data test ID equals, what do we name this? Call this the flyout backer. Copy this. go back into here, and we'll get const backer equals, oops, wrapper.get. Okay, and then we'll say expect backer that is visible, and then backer again. Give that a shot. That should wrapper get. Try wrapper find. Backer dot is visible. Empty DOM. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so exists. And then we're going to say this back to the props dot is open. Oh, it keeps giving me a $sign. Props dot is open. Quit that. I'm going to try running this again because it seems like it's stuck on something. Backer.exists. I expect the true to be falsy. It does exist, right? It should be there. It's visible. There we go. All right. Yeah, sometimes it gets a little funky. I don't know. I don't know why it was not working before. Might have just got stuck on something, but it happens. All right, so now it can be closed. So we'll say we'll do a couple of things here. So I want to async. I want this to be, I want the wrapper dot, we're going to await this again. We're going to set the props to is open is true. So it's now open. We're going to find that fly out thing. And we're going to say, we'll say, actually, let's do this. We'll have this be truly first. And then we're going to say await backer dot trigger click. So now this should actually give us a, it actually doesn't do anything because all it's going to be doing is emitting, and then we're going to be responsible for the exterior to actually hide it. So we'll say the backer dot, oh, not backer, how about wrapper dot emitted is, let's see, update is open to, let's see what it shows us, the match inline snapshot, right? I just want to see what it throws us. And yeah, so it's sending out something, sending out that false, which is what we wanted, right? So all we want to do is just make sure that that was sent. So this is going to be truly. So now that should also pass. And now we're passing. So now we have two things that we know is actually happening. There's very little things that we need to do. We could put a test for the slot. I'm not too worried about it right now. I know slots work. So the next thing I want to do is actually kind of start implementing this into our to-do title. So we have up here our to-do icon. So I actually want something here. I want a div. And this is going to have a, let's find out. This first one is just going to be a wrap. So we have, right now we have this space around us. So I just want a div. This is just going to be like a group. You know, let's make it a span, right? It's just a little piece. It's not really a division. It's just like a little group, right? So I'll have a div of, I want this to be a pointer. And let's say this one will be at click equals show actions equals true. And up here, we'll make a little guy for that. So const show actions equals a ref of false. We're going to say that's exactly what that is right now. And inside of here, I want to get we'll go to Heroicons. And I want a kebab. Kebab. Yeah, this one. Copy the SVG. Come back into here. Paste that. Perfect. Make that a little nicer. All right. That's that piece. And then after that, I want our flyout. And in here, we're going to have our little actions. I want a button. And that button will have classes of, say px-4.py-2. I'll show you this in a little bit. Hover, background, gray, 200. I'm kind of guessing here, right? I want it to be rounded. Actually, no. I don't want it to be rounded. And I actually don't want any padding. I do want this to have a width of full though. So this is our button, and this is going to be our little call here. So we're going to save that. Go back to our flyout. That's all well and good. This flyout we need to actually have. I think we have to pull it in. So import flyout from flyout view. And yeah, so it's throwing an error right now because it needs this is open. I want to vModel is open and show actions. Hey, what did I just do? Oh, I hit the wrong button. vModel is open equals show actions. Okay? So we're doing a vModel here because I actually want the flyout to kind of be in control of this. We could have it emit something else and we could catch it on here and then set it manually, but I like the idea of this being able to do it itself. And with vModel, if you send back an update and then whatever that prop is, you can actually send it some stuff. So this is going to be pretty cool. This all works for us. So let's save this. Let's actually take a look at this within the browser, right? So yarn dev. All right, open this up. We'll go to here. And then we got this running. We have this archive. It's being shown. It shouldn't. But let's see, what do we got here? We need, wanted this span. Need this span to have a class of relative. Okay. All right, so that, let's see if we're just not, oh, you know what? I was doing something before, yeah, import flyout, just was having an issue there. There we go. Now we have it. We want that actually now, because we didn't show this before, we didn't actually add any classes yet. So what I want let's have some classes here. We'll make, this is going to be an absolute. This is actually going to be fixed. So we're going to say opacity 0. We're going to make this fixed. We're going to top 0, left 0, right 0, and bottom 0. And this is just going to make sure that it's in every single spot. We're going to want a Z 10 on this. So it's all way up on top. It's on top of everything. And for this guy, we do want some classes as well. Let's add those classes. Class equals absolute. That is Z10 also, so it's just on the top. And I'm going to do this top full. So this kind of brings everything down for us. Top full. The Y, we want padding on the top and the bottom. And I'm going to make this a min width of, I think I had a 52 here. I don't know if that actually works, but background white, I think we can make that work. I could probably add brackets here with the pixels. I want a shadow, and I want a nice big shadow. I want a border, and the border to be gray, 300. Okay, save that. Actually, let's make this a little nicer. Do that. Have this on its own line, indented. Okay. Go back to here. So now we have, there we go. It's not rounded though. I thought I had it rounded. No, it's not rounded. Rounded. Okay, nice and rounded. So click that, it closes, right? So that's pretty nice. So that's our little button. Now, what we need to do is actually make this archive work. Maybe we'll play around with this a little bit more. That feels a little much, so the PY of 1 should be better. Yeah, that's just a little nicer. Just adds that little bit of space, right? And yeah, that's has a minimum width, I believe, of, no, it's bigger. Let's see what happens if I do that. Make it nice and big. Yeah, so that does work with this. So let's make it a 120, right? Yeah, nice big button. So it has a min width, but if we made this bigger, if we inspect the button, make this bigger, yeah, it grows. So that's perfect. Archive. So now what we need is we need to actually do the archiving stuff. We're going to jump back into PHP for this. So we can close out all of our resources. What I want is, I want to jump into our tests. I want to feature test. Go down to our to-dos, and we have a bunch of stuff, and we can see things are kind of split up for us. We have a deleting area. This is going to be where we archive though. So I want to have, let's see, test, it can be archived. So we want response equals this, delete, and the URL is going to be /to-do/archive, and actually don't need that. We'll give it a to-do ID. All right. So we need the to-do. To-do equals to-do factory and create. Now we have our to-do. We don't need to send anything with it. We just get that response. And what we're going to do is we're going to say this, assert, we're going to use a date. So we can use not null in this case. I'm going to do, and we're going to make sure we get a fresh instance of this. Fresh, and we're going to name this archived, archived at. So this is what I want. Actually, let's do this. Let's also have assert is null to start with, that we have the fresh and we're archiving it, right? So if I test this right now, if I run this, we're going to get an error that it must be a string, something along those lines. That was, yeah, so this actually, these errors are kind of weird, but let's go to our web routes. We're going to need one for route, delete, to do. I'm going to give it the to do again, and to do controller class, and we're going to do archive because I think I do want a delete method later on. Name is to do dot archive. Save that. We can actually, instead of this, let's say route, and we'll say to do dot archive. We'll give it that to do, and that's going to be our to do ID. So now save, run that again, see what happens. We should have a different failure. Archive does not exist on the to-dos controller. Perfect. To-dos controller. So we're getting a little closer. Jump down here, we have complete. So let's do a method for archive. Save it. You just want to incrementally make changes. Okay. So asserting that null is not null. This is, we get past this, we get to here, and then we're saying, did anything happen? So we're going to go here, we're going to say archive. I want that to do, so we're going to use route model binding. To do. I'm going to say to do update, and here we'll say archived at, and we'll just give it now. And we're going to say return a response, and we'll just make that response JSON, and we'll give it a message. Message, we'll say, give it this, to do title was archived. Okay. Again, we're going to see that it's null is not null, but this archive doesn't exist yet. We need to go to our to-do migration. Migrations, let's go database, migrations, and we have our create to-dos table here. Now, let me bring my face back. Where's my face? Okay, so right now, we don't have archived at within our database. And if we were wanting to keep all of this data that we have already, we would want to create a update migration. But right now, because we're still developing this and we don't care if we delete anything, it's all fake stuff, we can actually just truncate the entire table and start fresh and have brand new tables, new columns for us. Sorry, new rows. So new data, right? So we don't care. So that's why we're going back into the create migration, and we're going to update it there. We're going to add the new archived at column because we don't care. We just need it, and we don't have to worry about preserving any data. So let's jump back into it. And so here it is. We already have some timestamps for the completed at. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to say archived at. So save that. We'll run the test again, see what happens. Null is not null. So this is one of two things. Let's go back to the controller. Let's try this. Sometimes that gets weird. So to do, we'll say archived at equals now. And then we'll have it, yeah. So the other option that it could have been was if we went to the to-do model. Yeah, we have fillable. This actually should have caught this. So update, nope, archived at. Yeah, that should have caught it. I don't know why. I guess because it's not in a form. I don't know. Sometimes it'd be weird. All right, so we're running it. Still works. I like that. We could do something like, we could just give it a method, archive, and then have it do, that could have everything for us. Actually, yeah, let's go around that route for us. We're gonna save this. We're gonna jump into a different test though, because now we're adding things to our actual model. So we're gonna do a unit test. So in this case, unit to do, I wanna say, I was in the wrong one. Met a to do can be archived. So again, we're going to need a to do. I'm going to say to do factory make, so we don't need a database here. This assert false, actually null is to do archived at, and then to do archive, and then this assert not null to do archived at. Boop. Save this, run this. It's gonna fail. No tests executed. Oh. Copy this, bring that down here, save, run that again. Just needed this annotation. So yeah, first off, it's trying to call an undefined method. That makes sense. Go to our, here, so we have our methods. We'll do archive, and pretty much the same exact thing. We're going to say archived at equals now, run that, and it passes. The reason it passes, even though we're doing the update, is because we're setting the archive that on it. It just knows that that's what's happening. It doesn't need to, it's not actually updating it within this test. So let's go back to the controllers. We have archive already there. And then we can do, where is this? So we'll do our to-do test. It could be archived. This is the one that we're doing through the route. We're going to run this, and it's still passing. Perfect. So now we can do that. So now we have to go back into JavaScript. It's a big one, right? There's a lot of like little things here. So close out all of my windows. We're going to go to the to-do store, and I want to const archive. Right, that's going to be an async function, async, and I just need the ID. So first, yeah, I'm going to need, let's do this. Delete to do, we don't need all this. And so that's the response. I'm going to say to-dos, we need a to-do now, because we could remove it. So we'd like to remove it from the actual array of to-dos, but I think what's a better option is to kind of like dull it out, right? I don't want to just pop it out. We could have it removed and do some kind of like view transition. So when I was planning this, I just had it kind of get blurred out, which was kind of cool, you know, because maybe then you can click it and undo that thing just in case you wanted to. It just kind of left it there. It was less jarring, but actually having it kind of maybe pull off to the side could be kind of cool. So maybe we'll do that. So what I'd want to do for that, we're gonna actually add we're gonna add some metadata to this. So let's do a const this to do. It's gonna equal todos.value.find. Oops, find, and that's gonna be the to-do.id is that ID. That's our to-do. And what we're going to say is now this to-do dot meta is going to equal an object. We're going to say archived true. So this is just going to set that, which is kind of cool. Just have some random archive stuff on it. So this, actually, let's do this too. It wasn't throwing any error, and I kind of feel like we did something wrong here. So here, yeah, we want this to be a ref, and we want that to be a to-do, yeah. So this to-do is going to be a type, and then the ref, we're going to get from view, it's just a capital ref, it's a type. And this is going to say, actually this needs to be an array. There we go. So now at the bottom we should have this where the meta does not exist. But if we run back over here and we hit, I forget what, but we'll go to definition F12. Now we can have here, first off, completed at date is optional because it's not going to be completed to start with. And archived at, it's also not needed all the time. And data, not date, date, and I want a meta, which is going to be, we can make it unknown, we can make it an object, but I'm going to say any. So now we have that. So if we run back down here, you can see the meta, and that's any. We can do some, this is kind of cool. I don't think we've shown this before, but we can actually add a string here. We could say add any metadata needed for UI. Now, if I come back here in this, add any metadata needed for UI. Isn't that cool? So we could do that for any of these. I don't know if this works with that. Save that. It does not. Yeah. So you need it to be the other way around. You need those stars. Save that. Come back here. How cool is that? Nice little helper for everybody. You know, somebody else comes in here. It's like, what's the meta? Okay. So we have. Then I want to return response. And now archive is here, so archive. All right, save that, and we could run over to our to-do title. And in here, we'll have this. So we'll have at click equals archive. And we'll pull that in through right here, archive. And we want to send it the ID, so props.id. Save that. And if we go back to our guy here, save. All right, we're mixed up. Created an issue. That's not that, it's a comma. Save, come back here. So now we can archive this. Nothing happened, but I want you to see what did actually happen. So if we clear that out, if we click on this to do, we have a new we have, oh, we actually should have gotten an error. Yeah, Axios error. There are things that are going wrong. So what we need to do is clear out of that. We're going to create a new bash here. Let's go to Homestead. We can't, well, yeah, go to Homestead, and we're going to vagrant SSH into it through our terminal. And the reason we're doing this is because we actually never got to do the update. So I'm going to PHP, no, we're going to cd into code, get into green, to do. And now we're in to do. I'm going to do PHP artisan migrate fresh. That's going to delete truncate everything and give us everything, update everything for us. So back on the front end, we refresh now. We have no to-dos. We could create a new one, right? We have this one and stays, and this one to be archived. Refresh, right? Those all save. I'm going to archive that. Now, if we go back to view, we look at this to-do. We have an archive. It's not set yet, but in the meta, we have archive true. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I want to handle this on the front end right away, whereas this to-do doesn't have that. I just want to do something here. So what we'll do is we'll do a transition. So on title, nope. Go to do itself. And for each of these, to do title. Is it the home page? We'll do, where's the page? Page, home. This is where all of our v4s are. Do a transition here. And this is where I'm going to take a little time to do this. But what we could do is, what I had before, I'll show you that really, really quick. I had that actually on the to-do itself. We gave it a class. So this is the whole to-do. It'll say class equals, what is it? Capacity 50, and that would have been props.todo !meta.archived. So come back to the front. That was archived. There we go. Oh, got an error. Reading emits option. I think that's what I wanted. Yeah. Okay. So we got the new to-dos. So if I archive this, look at that. It's kind of like, it's a little bit more hidden, as if something's going on. We could probably blur it or anything like that, but that's all from just having this props archive thing right here. And this is just saying, if it exists, use it. If not, it's no, don't do it, right? It's falsy. So that's pretty cool. But if we do it with the whole home page, this could be cool. So we'll do the transition like we were talking about. Transition. And let's see, this, I don't know if Vue has transitions built in. So Vue, let's just go to Vue. Transitions. Ba, ba, ba. Transition. I'm going to have all this v enter leave stuff. Yeah, so we have like a fade. We could do something like that. So what we'll do here, we'll give it, I don't know if we have to have, we'll do it down here. We'll do a style lang, we'll just do just CSS. We'll give that to what we need. Save this. And in here, we'll do a V. We'll get rid of this. Take care of that. Save that. And on the home page, we could do V4. V if equals to do dot meta question mark dot archived. Save that. Let's see if that works, because this could be cool. All right, so this is not. So we'll go back to here. All right, so that was kind of cool. So if we do archive, it'll slowly disappear, and there you go. So you can actually have this go even further. So the leave, we'll do, forget how all this works, but we can probably have it like move to the right a little bit, or zoom out and stuff like that, which could be kind of cool. We're not going to worry about that right now. That within itself is pretty cool. I'll probably tinker with that a little bit offline, and I'll explain it to you when I can actually explain it to you. It's always kind of confusing, but we can have them disappear. But we still have the issues when we reload. All of those ones that are supposed to be gone are still there. If we look at this, go back to the view, we still have our, so now these are wrapped in transitions, and we have base transitions, but we have this, it's archived at. So this should have been archived. Shouldn't show up. So we need something here. And what we're going to do is, we're going to exit out of this. I'm going to say PHP artisan create, oh, what are those things called? Global scope. Actually, let's do help. Oh, I'm in the, I'll just delete that. And we'll create a new one where we are. So, PHP artisan help. So let's say PHP artisan help list. Just tell me what they are. PHP artisan list. There we go. I want to create a scope. I don't know if it's called global scope. Notifications, package. I don't care about the queue, don't care about route. Schedule. Care about that. What did I do to run that? PHP artisan make scope. PHP artisan make scope. Say archive scope. Does this do anything? Oh, yeah. Couldn't find it, but just. So when you're, oh, that's why it just goes in there. I thought there was something for that. Anyways, that's what it is. But it implements scope, actually. Perfect. So this is actually what we want. We have this apply. So that actually was the right, looks like it was in the wrong spot. It was kind of confusing me. But now what we want to do is we're going to say for every time that you call this will affect, well, I'll show you, but this will prevent archived things from showing. So we're going to call the builder. I'm going to say where archived at is null. Right? Actually, we could do where null archived at. Right? So now I want to go to, this is not going to do anything for us right now, but if we go into our to-do model, we can do up here, we can do a boot method. And what that's going to look like, it's going to have a protected static, and it's going to be booted, and it's going to return a void, and pop, 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 and static, add global scope. I'm going to say new archive scope, just like that. So this should now work for us. So if we refresh, we only get the one thing because this is actually not archived yet. So we actually have the right stuff. But if we wanted to see everything that was coming in, we need to undo that global scope. Let's go to do test and the feature. So I want this to be tested, right? So creating a to-do, editing, and we have viewing to-dos, right? Viewing to-do. Do test. Archived to-dos do not show on index. Yeah. So we say we'll create a couple of to-dos. To-do 1 equals to-do factory create, and to-do 2, actually, do pop, pop, and create. This one will be archived at, oh, this, I got excited. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. This is kind of cool. Let's go to into our database factories. We have our to-do factory. We have this. What we can do, oh, how do you do it? Now I have to show you because I got excited about it and I got to go look it up. Yeah, let me go look that up. Okay, so I just found this function. So this is, instead of suspended, we're going to say, I just copied this from Laravel, but we're just going to make it work for what we want. So I'm creating a state for us. So archived. This state function, we're going to give an array of attributes, but we don't care. And we're going to say archived at, and we're going to give it now. That's all we have to do. Change this text up here, indicate that the to-do is archived. So if we come back to the test, do this, to, pretty cool. So now when we go to the page, I want to make sure that when we call it, we don't get, now, do controller index. we just give it we just give it a list. So I remember I struggled with this before. Yeah, here we go. Response get to-dos, get content, and these are our to-dos. And this is all assert. Let's see. All right, I figured it out. So we're collecting this, right? And we need to find out if the array contains. So we're going to do assault. I've been assaulted. Mentally, I'm assaulted by myself. So this assert true. To do contains the ID, where we have ID to do 1 ID, to do 3, and assert false, that to do's contains the ID of to do 2. So this actually is that archive thing. So now we know that works. And then what we'd want to do is also, if we have something like, let's say we want to maybe call without it. I'm going to show you this, but we don't really have a use case for it yet, so I'm not going to write a test. But if we wanted to, what we could do is go to, let's close all this out, go to do models. Now we can have scopes here, query scopes. And I want to change this up a little bit. When we want to actually get the ones that are archived, let's say we have a page, and we will in the future have a page, let's say just for the archived items, right? So we're going to do scope. So this is like the magic string. This is what's telling Laravel that we want a scope applied. And we're going to say archive. Or archived, right? It's going to take a query. And it's going to be a void response. I'm going to say query. I'm going to say without global scope. I'm going to pass that exact same global scope from before, the archive scope class. And then we're just going to say, and also where not null, archived at. So this is going to be only get, whenever I'm on videotaping, I cannot type. I can't. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. Oops. So what I have here is we're getting rid of that global scope that we applied up here within our boot, right? So this is the archive scope. And then I just want to make sure, double make sure that we're getting archived at. And to prove this, we'll go to to-do controller. And here we want to-dos, and we just want archived. Save that. And if we go back to our page, remember we had just the one. If we refresh, we should have everything except the one that was saved, because that one is not archived. That's what this right here is doing. So if we have this, and we go back, this will get everything. So that's just removing the global scope. But if we actually want to get strictly the archived, this is how it would look. So that's pretty much everything. There you have it. You can now archive our things. We have this nice little flyout menu. The only thing I would change is when after you click that button, we can close it out. So instead of calling archive directly, I would have it call a different function, maybe archive to do, and then in there we would set the flyout to close, the show actions to close, and then actually call the archive function, and that would be it. And with that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was kind of fun to make. There was a lot of little pieces. I tried my best to actually get this thing as smooth as possible, but it's a big working machine. There's so many moving parts. It gets kind of crazy to break it down and try and follow along and stuff and rewrite it after I already did it. So let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. You write them down in the comment section below. That would be cool. I'd like to hear from you guys. If there's something that you want to hear or see within this, definitely write it there too. And if you learned something, a thumbs up. If you didn't, don't do a thumbs down. Just enjoy the video. I don't know. But if you didn't like it, put a thumbs down, obviously. But do the YouTube stuff. Subscribe, put that little bell icon, all that good stuff, right? I'm jabbering. It is 11:30 at night. I'm exhausted. And I can't wait to edit this. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your night or day, whatever you're doing. And cheers.